At this time, we have tight ends coach Blaine Stewart. Questions for Blaine? Greg.
So, Blaine, just start with your room. I mean, comfortable with it? How well have they performed, or are there still problems?
I'm very comfortable with the room. You know, we returned a lot from last year in terms of just snap count with both Cole and Traylon. And everyone in the room that has been here has taken a step from this time last year. So that includes guys like Will Dixon and Noah. You know, you added two pieces with Jackson Marco out of high school and Greg Genros out of the JUCO ranks. So, you know, we're all just trying to take a step. And I would say they've done that. So, you know, our charge has been how can we add value to the team, as I always say, and then, you know, just find a role on special teams. So when we have guys in uniform, they're helping in some capacity, and I think everyone has taken steps to do that, top down.
Start with Cole. What did you ask him to improve upon?
Well, I think Cole took a major step in the offseason physically. His body does look different. He's really added to his lower body strength and just overall mass. He did a great job with his body composition this summer. The nutritionists were very pleased with his execution of their plan. And, you know, Cole has always had dynamic ball skills for a big guy, but I've been very pleased with what I've seen with him in the run game. And obviously the experience he's shown going into his fifth year of playing football. Obviously he's got the COVID year from his freshman year, so this is his fifth year playing. So I'm really pleased with where Cole is schematically, general defense understanding, and it's been nice to see his growth in overall strength that is translated to every part of his game.
Same thing for Traylon then.
Traylon's done a great job. Coach Brown praised him today in our team meeting just for a guy that's had a very quiet camp, if you will, but he's done everything we've asked, continued to be a leader in the run game and pass protection, and the ball's found him a little bit. I'm very pleased with where Traylon is. You know, it's his fourth year in the program, and his body looks like a fourth-year player. He's been in great shape. He's really done a nice job expanding upon, you know, what we ask him to do. And I'm very pleased with Traylon, and he's done an excellent job also with the intangible things like leadership and putting his toughness on display for other guys to follow. So I'm very pleased with where Traylon is on his personal approach.
How has having a kind of a veteran group helped you in another year transitioning into leading a room, and you're still able to kind of lean on some veterans there?
Yes, sir. It's been wonderful. Cole and Traylon, you know, make my job really easy. When we cover something or install something, they have a great feel because they've done it so much, especially, you know, this past calendar year with being in the same offense, as I say. Like last year going into 2023, there was some transition in just terminology and overall schematics. But this year, we have really just tried to take a step. So those guys do an excellent job of, you know, just leading by example, especially in the room, and they've grown into leadership roles on the team. So, you know, that makes it easier, and it makes it easier for young guys when they see how they execute that, you know, that is our standard, and it's wonderful to have those two, you know, really lead from the front. And I appreciate, you know, all they do for our room and the offense.
We've heard a lot about Jack. Just what has he done so well in the handful of months he's been here?
Jack has done a great job. You know, off the field, Jack is a lovable character. You know, I feel like guys really enjoy spending time around Jack. He's just done a really good job maximizing his natural frame. You know, Jack is a big kid, and he's gotten, you know, over to the 250-pound mark, which has been critical for the position. So, you know, his body is still not done changing, but Jack is a very smart young man. You know, if you coach him on something once, he doesn't make the same mistake. And Jack just does a really good job of, whenever you put him in there, just trying to execute to the best of his ability, and he's done that. So I think Jack has a really bright future. And, you know, for whether it's the next 4 or 5 years, I think he's going to be a key piece to what we do on offense.
You think with seniors like Cole and Traylon, it would maybe be hard for a young guy to stand out. I guess has he just been that? I mean, what about him has kind of caught eyes?
Well, I think he got great exposure in the spring. With Cole being out in the spring, Jack, you know, there was one day someone got banged up, and Jack's out there with the first group and 12 personnel, the two tight set, going against Sean Martin and guys like Eddie V. So, you know, Jack got baptism by fire, which was really cool. And I just think, you know, his January to July allowed him to play with great confidence so far this fall. So, Jack's had the ability to go against, everyone on our defense, whether it's from the first group all the way down to the third and fourth group, and he's excelled in certain opportunities. So I just think Jack does a really good job executing when his number's called. He's made some plays in the pass game and done a really nice job in the run game, which we're excited about. And that's why we took a body type like his in the recruiting class, because we needed some length and some size. And he's just trying to maximize his role and push that as best he can, despite being a young player.
I'm looking down this roster here. I see a lot of TEs. I don't see a lot of FBs, but you got them too. You have to be mindful of that when you're dealing with this few guys part of your group.
Yeah, 100%. You have to be mindful. I would classify Traylon as an FB as well. So Traylon, will have a role, quote unquote, as a fullback, and he's done well in that. But also, we view that second tight end as really a flex position that can play in the slot, at the end of the line, off the ball. And then, also in certain formations, we leave the same people out there, but they're very fullback aligned. So, I think Traylon Davis has done an excellent job. Noah has played some of that, and then Colin McBee as well. It's hard to get 3 fullbacks reps in an offense, but those guys really take pride in what that position can do, and I think their body type is really necessary for a good offense, and we've tried to implement some things that help with that.
Blaine, the last thing you think of as a compliment to a tight end or fullback is being a lovable character. Can you explain what that means?
Oh, sure, yeah. I'll just touch on Jack. Jack is a great energy giver. He's always got a smile on his face. He's always willing and eager. And he's one of those guys that, when you're sitting with him at lunch, you enjoy being around him. I would say everyone in my room's got some characteristic of that. Traylon Davis is a little more hard-nosed, probably than the rest of the room, but you can even get him cracking jokes. Sometimes Cole's a great personality to be around, and even young Noah, he doesn't talk very much, but I've seen a couple smiles. So I just think we've been watching clips of the Receiver show on Netflix where they got Kittle. Kittle's a lovable character. He plays the game the right way, and I'm not saying we have a George Kittle, but we do appreciate kind of the uplifting spirit that he has for an offense. He's been a guy we've watched and just talked about the tight end position, how cool it is, and how much love he has for it. I think energy givers are valuable in any position room.
Culture has kind of become a buzzword for building a program, the things that each one tries to do to set itself apart. You being around the game all your life, when did you become aware of that as kind of an important thing, and how have you seen that kind of develop over the years?
That's a great question. I think culture is something you can't really measure, but you know it when you see it. Just thinking back to when I was young, the teams here, they had great culture of kind of an underdog mentality that grew into kind of like a heavyweight fighter mentality. I mean, I remember when guys like Pac-Man Jones and Angel Estrada and Grant Wiley and all those guys were playing, there was an edge about the West Virginia team, and that transitioned over to offense of hard-nosed running with Quincy Wilson and Navon Coburn that evolved into Steve Slayton and guys like that. So I just think you have to have an edge about you as a program, and I think we're trending in that direction to find our just fit in college football. And I think when you look back, every team does have a culture. You look at USC back in the early 2000s, they had the Flash and the big time playmakers, the U back in the day, with kind of how they just took the field. You could feel that. And I think West Virginia teams in that same era, when we went down there to Miami and punched them in the mouth and we ended up losing that game on a last second field goal, but that culture of that team really flipped the teams here in Morgantown. So, you even look to the Orange Bowl year with the explosive offense that West Virginia had here, and then the next year when West Virginia was lighting it up early in the season, there was a culture about that. So we just got to find our culture and how we can be the best version of ourselves, but give us a chance with the edge and the mindset we take on the field every Saturday. And we're developing that, all the way through a season.
Coach, obviously, Cole has said team goals are number one for him, but he did put it out there that he's looking for 50 catches is something that he's shooting for. He does want to get individual awards, things like that as well. Mm-hmm. How do you weigh that is that at all? And like you're trying to get a player to the next level, maybe the NFL, get these individual accolades that'll help the overall group, but it's a team game. A lot of receivers as well. It's going to be harder maybe with the depth chart for that to happen this year.
Yeah, we're not focused on anything statistical. Together we eat has kind of been a mantra for us. So if the run game's cooking and the receivers are doing the plays that they've shown to make thus far in fall camp, there will be balls that find the tight end position. We want to win every game. If that means scoring 50 points or if that means scoring 7 and controlling the football all game, we want to win every game, and Cole understands that mindset. But, I've been around some receivers in my time in Pittsburgh that, the ball went through them. So Coach T taught me a long time ago, like, channel that and make it successful. All he wants to do is be a key part of our offense, and the stats will come. We're not going to ever put a number on it, but I think with what he's shown to do this fall camp, he will be a pivotal part in everything we do offensively. And then as we get going, the numbers will take care of themselves.
Blaine, you have history with the university, you know about it. Also the position too, right? Kind of a pop quiz. Do you know the school record for touchdowns by a tight end?
If I had to guess, I'll say it's probably 9. And higher or lower? Probably 7 then.
6.
6. Okay.
I think it's 6 by
And then we
Levitt
got Anthony
Purnell.
Beck.
Levitt Purnell.
Wow.
So all right, that's kind of
That was
unusual.
before my time.
Okay, well, like I said, you knew some history, right? You knew some history, but
Yes,
like
sir.
what you know about the position, the way offenses have gone and evolved, and it goes in ebbs and flows. I get that, but that surprised me because the number of quality tight ends, and it's an old record too, and it's not a huge number. I don't know, as a person who coaches that position, has to recruit to it, or just knows about the university. Does that number say anything about past, present, future?
Not so much past. Obviously, there's been some great tight ends that have played here. You look on the tight end wall, you see guys like Anthony Becht and Trayvon Wesco, and obviously Owen was a fullback. But I just think if we could get close to that as a position room or whatever, then we're helping the offense. Obviously we have some dynamic guys in the red zone that are exciting, but we've also got great running backs and dynamic receivers that can beat one-on-one coverage. So anytime you're scoring touchdowns in the red zone, that's all you're hunting. So we'll try to formate the best matchups and go from there. But it is something that can help us moving forward, especially in the recruiting that you mentioned.
And then unrelated, I promise, but when you see Generos out there, he just moves and looks a little bit different than other guys. And I know like it's the fancy new toy. Everybody thinks, wow, it's going to be something here. But what's realistic for him? And it seems like he could work in tandem with different combinations to do or make use of what he does best.
Correct. Greg has a very dynamic skill set. He's got extraordinary length. He's got great movement skills. He runs fast on the GPS. He's shown the ability to high point the football. I think realistic expectations for Greg is to help us at some point this season. I never want to put a timeline on it because then if it doesn't happen, I kind of look like the bad guy. So I just think, we've added a very dynamic piece to our offense that's going to be here 2 years based on his eligibility. So we're excited to coach him. We're excited to bring him along, kind of just on everyone's, timeline is different, but he will help us at some point in the future. And I'm excited when he does, because like you said, you see flashes of like, ooh, that looks a little different. So we're excited about him. And then, hopefully he can find a role on special teams, find a role in a certain package, and build upon that as we move through a, 12, 13, 14 game opportunity, which is what we're hunting.
All those tight ends that were mentioned, none of them were 6'7" like Cole. And that's a pretty good asset to have in the red zone, being able to high point balls. What do you see from him that separates him from some of those other guys?
I think he has dynamic ball skills. You can put the ball within his catch radius, and if the ball's in the air, I'm believing that Cole Taylor's going to make the play, whether it's back shoulder, high point, just boxing out a defender with his natural ability. I think his ball skills are what separate him in the ability to make contested catches, make kind of may not look open, but if you give him a shot, he's shown sometimes in fall camp that all he needs is just the opportunity to go get the ball, and I think that's what makes Cole special and is so enticing about him as a target for a quarterback.
You break down in a couple more. Will Dixon and then Noah Brandt. What do you think of each of those?
I think Will Dixon, since January, has done everything we've asked as a program. He's gained weight. He's probably, if I had to guess today, he's probably 243, 244 pounds. When he was playing last year at 229, he didn't hit 230 till probably December of last year. So he's committed himself to the physical requirements for the position. He's done an excellent job, too, of becoming more comfortable in the offense, both at the Y tight end position and the H tight end position, to where, if something happens in a pinch, I can just put him in, when last year we couldn't do that. So I think he's done a really good job. He's shown flashes. He's a 20-mile-an-hour GPS guy at 6'4", 240. So, I think he's done an excellent job of taking the natural step that is a third-year player. He's made contested catches. He's made point-of-attack blocks. There's still plenty of things to clean up. He had 2 blocks in the scrimmage on Saturday that he would have loved to have back. But it was exposure to a new position, and now he sees it and hopefully won't make the same mistake. So, I think Will's done a really good job just showing that he could help us at some point, and, maybe find a role on special teams as well. And then just talking about Noah, Noah's biggest thing was he didn't play tight end a year and a half ago. So Noah's done great. He's probably 245 plus. And he's really taken the charge, led by Traylon Davis, to be very physical. And, Noah's done a great job of kind of putting his face in the fan and doing a good job creating space when he run blocks, and made a couple nice plays in the pass game too, which is more probably natural to him. But he's done a really good job taking the step of physicality that is necessary, and has done good jobs on special teams units like kickoff return and punt rush. So, we're excited about the steps Noah's taken, and then whenever his number's called, I think he's trending in the direction to be a productive player for us whenever that may be.
Keeping down then, so Colin McBee, more fullback obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a role for him in the offense with the other guys you got, or is he a special teams guy? What do you envision Colin?
I think Colin is a great football player. He floats back and forth between fullback and running back for certain drills and stuff. And, I think he does a great job just being readily available. This year, who knows? If we're, running a big set out there, Traylon Davis is definitely going to get first crack at it. But Colin is more than ready and willing to be ready to go. He's done a great job in practice with fullback-like things, certain situational football. So I just think Colin has shown the ability to make even some plays in the pass game. Like he has caught a couple balls that have turned some eyes too. So I think Colin's time will come. It's just a matter of when that opportunity presents itself.
And what about you? You comfortable being back home? Was it overwhelming initially? Just your history here, as Mike talked about, or are you more comfortable now when you come into the building than you used to be?
Yes, for sure. I think I touched on this in the spring. Like last year, it was kind of just there was things going 100 miles an hour, and I was trying to do my best job in every phase of what is a college football coach. So, this year I'm definitely more comfortable. It's great coming in the building, having the routine kind of down of what a day in fall camp looks like, in season, back to the summer. And I'm definitely comfortable just being back with my boots on the ground, ready to rock and roll with whatever comes our way. But it's definitely been wonderful, and I'm, I can appreciate it a little more as opposed to last year when I was just going 100 miles an hour.
Is there any other, you mentioned Mike Tomlin, a little bit of advice he gave you. Any other advice that either him or anyone else with the Steelers gave you? Because now, again, as Perry's talking about, your feet are more under you.
Yeah, for sure. When we had some off time before the training camp started, I went to Washington Commanders practice and had the ability to spend some time with Dan Quinn. And he was actually talking to another coach that we both knew, but I was, just being a fly on the wall listening. And he said, you can't have C+ days. Because when people look, when my guys specifically, but, when people look to you, you got to have an A+ day if you're in any form of leadership. So that's kind of been my goal for fall camp, is just to never have a C+ day, try to have A days and go from there. But I just think, watching guys, how they move and operate is kind of how I find my motivation in my mentors. But yeah, I try to lean on numerous people. Like I've had communication with the Steelers tight end coach about certain routes and stuff. So, I just try to soak up as much information from those who have done it before me, and those do it at a level that I hope to do it someday. So I just am thankful for those and those relationships, and try to emulate that.
And just quickly going back to Cole, obviously you've experienced coaching in the NFL, you're around Pat Freiermuth, etc. Do you think Cole's an NFL tight end? What do you think he has to do to get there? How does he stack up?
I think Cole will absolutely have an opportunity to play at the next level. What that looks like on draft weekend, who knows? But I'm confident just having seen, different position rooms, that he will have a shot to play on Sunday. And, he's got to go put the good film out there, but, we got to put him in position numerous ways: run game, protection, pass game, to be able to do so. And I think he's taken those steps. So we'll let the chips fall where they may, but he'll have the opportunity to be a guy for us that will get any exposure necessary for that next year.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach.
Yep. Thank you, guys.